secret letter, a furious king, missing money, and covert meetings at Raymill House, the transcript opens with the explosive allegation that Queen Camilla had been hiding ambitions, financial schemes, and plans that King Charles III was never supposed to discover. The document was allegedly found by accident in Queen Camilla's private office, where a palace attendant reportedly found it during routine cleaning. That mistake supposedly ripped open everything. The letter allegedly described an attempt to deepen control inside the royal family, accumulate money through improper channels, finance a private estate, secure a luxurious future, and undermine other trusted figures close to King Charles III. Suddenly, what looked like paperwork became the first piece of a much darker puzzle. The attendant, realizing the danger, carried the secret directly to King Charles III, and the palace, in the story, became an investigation scene. Inside Buckingham Palace, the reaction is portrayed as immediate. King Charles III reportedly read the letter line by line, shock turning into fury as advisors and independent financial inspectors were summoned that very night. What followed was an emergency audit that allegedly discovered huge irregularities in royal cash flow and repeated transfers into Queen Camilla's personal financial holdings. It also claims Camilla had used influence and money to bribe employees inside the royal finance department, allowing suspicious expenses to be hidden. The situation had supposedly become an institutional crisis. King Charles III is depicted issuing sweeping orders, freeze every account connected to Queen Camilla, stop spending from the Queen's office, lock down the royal budget, and suspend anyone suspected of helping conceal the activity. No delay, no exceptions, and no warning. By the time Camilla realized what had happened, the financial doors had already slammed shut. The confrontation became even more revealing. The transcript says Queen Camilla stormed into King Charles III's private office, demanding to know who had authorized the freezes and insisting the action was an insult to her position. Yet, King Charles III supposedly did not show the letter, did not reveal the audit, and did not explain the evidence. Instead, he asked one question: had she done anything that betrayed his trust or threatened the royal family? And suddenly, the anger disappeared. According to the transcript, Camilla fell silent. That silence becomes the crucial clue. King Charles III watched, disappointed, then ended the exchange without exposing what he already knew. The next day, rather than confront her again, King Charles III allegedly widened the covert investigation. That decision led investigators away from Buckingham Palace and toward Raymill House, where Camilla was said to be making regular private visits. Surveillance around the estate allegedly revealed an unfamiliar businessman repeatedly entering and leaving at unusual hours. A man described in the transcript as ambitious, socially hungry, and desperate to force his way into elite circles. The pieces appeared to connect: the secret letter, the vanished funds, the frozen accounts, the panic in the office, and the mysterious visitor at Raymill House. King Charles III allegedly began to suspect that Camilla and the businessman were not merely meeting privately, but building something together: money, influence, and perhaps an escape route into an even more dangerous plan. Suspicion was not enough. Charles's closest aide was then entrusted with an operation that pushed the story into extraordinary territory. Royal bodyguards were allegedly ordered to wait until Camilla and the businessman were away, distract local security at Raymill House, enter the property, and install miniature surveillance cameras in the study and living room. Every movement and conversation was to be captured without a trace. The operation allegedly succeeded, and when the cameras began transmitting, the transcript claims King Charles III and his aides saw something far worse than the financial scheme they had expected: Camilla and the mysterious businessman allegedly discussing a plan involving classified royal documents, procurement lists, and a market manipulation operation designed to force the palace into buying goods back at inflated prices. What looked like a secret relationship had now, within the story, become an alleged conspiracy, and the evidence was finally being recorded. With the surveillance footage allegedly capturing the entire scheme, the story says the palace no longer considered the situation a matter of suspicion. According to the transcript, King Charles III believed the evidence from Raymill House had pushed the crisis into a completely different category. Because the footage supposedly showed confidential royal information being used as part of a profit-making operation, the alleged arrangement was brutally simple. Camilla would obtain information about important royal events and purchasing plans, while the businessman would use that knowledge to manipulate supplies, create artificial shortages, and force the palace to buy necessary goods back at inflated prices. The profit would then allegedly be divided between them. Once King Charles III was shown the recordings, the story claims the response was immediate. Royal bodyguards were instructed to establish covert positions around Raymill House and wait until Camilla and the businessman met again. This time there would be no questioning, no warning, and no opportunity for anything to disappear. The trap allegedly closed during another private meeting inside the study. The transcript says Camilla and the businessman were exchanging documents when security forces suddenly moved in, sealed the exits, and searched their belongings. Inside Inside Camilla's handbag and the businessman's briefcase, investigators allegedly discovered documents connected to international events and purchasing lists that appeared ready to be taken away. The moment was devastating because, within the story, those papers matched the material discussed in the surveillance footage. The bodyguards announced that they were acting under the direct authority of King Charles III, sealed the evidence, and ordered both suspects to return to Buckingham Palace. Camilla and the businessman were then placed inside a security vehicle and transported under guard, turning what had begun with an accidentally discovered letter into a confrontation that could no longer be avoided. Back at Buckingham Palace, the transcript describes the atmosphere as almost unbearable. King Charles III allegedly sat before the collected evidence while Queen Camilla and the profit-hungry businessmen were forced to face the consequences of what investigators claimed had been uncovered. Video footage, secret discussions, and confiscated documents were supposedly laid out together. Faced with the material, Camilla allegedly collapsed, cried, and pleaded for mercy. Camilla reportedly appealed to their shared history, the years of public pressure, and the struggles they had endured together, promising to return the money, abandon every personal plan, and disappear into a quieter life if only the punishment could be reduced. But King Charles III, according to the narrative, refused to allow personal emotion to outweigh the institution. King Charles III is portrayed as deeply hurt yet determined, declaring that the alleged seizure of power, misuse of royal funds, and transfer of confidential information represented a betrayal that could not be ignored. The businessman was ordered to be transferred to judicial authorities along with the evidence and face imprisonment under the law. Then came the most dramatic judgment of all. Camilla was allegedly told that her royal titles, privileges, designations, and position as queen were being stripped away, that she was being expelled from the royal family, and that she would no longer be permitted to interfere in palace affairs. The bodyguards then carried out the order. The businessman was taken away in handcuffs, while Camilla was escorted from the palace in humiliation and despair. The royal doors closed behind her, ending the transcript's dramatic account with one haunting question still hanging over everything. When ambition enters a place built on loyalty and trust, how much damage can be done before the truth finally forces its way into the light?